Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Bleav in Bengal podcast. Week 1 is in the books. Cincinnati Bengals disappoint drastically. They fall to the New England Patriots, 16-10 at Paycor Stadium. One of the most disappointing games I've ever witnessed. I think my heart is so much into this team that when we perform like we did on Sunday, I'm I'm depressed. I have issues. I have to see my therapist. I need somebody to talk me off the ledge. And here's what I've got to. I love Zac Taylor. I think he's a phenomenal young coach. Something happened though in this game where I thought the players betrayed the coach. Tanner Hudson got to hold on to the ball. You cannot fumble going into the end zone, holding the ball above your head. I don't know what that was about. That's betraying your coach because your coach trusted you with the ball. Your quarterback trusted you with the ball, and you fumble. Charlie Jones, I don't know what you're doing, man. You're fielding the ball inside your own 10-yard line. You're fumbling punt returns. You set the Patriots to go up 13-10 before we even knew what happened as we were in the second half. You gave them points that we needed those points later because the defense played well without giving up much more. I only gave them another field goal after that. But you gave them 3 points yourself, Charlie Jones. But it was at this point in the game in the fourth quarter with 2:26 left to go. Cincinnati Bengals are trailing 10-16. It's 4th and 5 from the Cincinnati Bengal 15-yard line. Joe Burrow's got to go for it. If we punt the ball right here, we're not getting it back. They're running the ball down our throats. The New England Patriots rushed for 170 yards on the ground. They ran the ball 36 times, and they had their way. We're not going to get a quick stop, right? They got 3 timeouts. There's no way that we're getting the ball back to be able to try to win it. It's right now. It's on 4th and 5 from your own 15. But Zac Taylor decided to punt the ball. I don't know what that was. And look, everybody will tell you no one respects Zac Taylor more than I. Listen, I do believe that even some of the best people at their job, I believe Bill Belichick made mistakes. When he decided not to play Malcolm Butler in that playoff game, or excuse me, in that Super Bowl game against the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know what point he was trying to make. All he did was get smoked. And they end up losing a Super Bowl to the Philadelphia Eagles, okay? Nick Foles. They lost to Nick Foles. Tom Brady threw for over 500 yards and 5 touchdown passes. They still lost the game because he wants to play some backup guy at second. So some of the best coaches, some of the best players, some of the best have made mistakes. And so I'm not going to quibble too much on this, but I don't think we should have been punting the ball on 4th and 5 from our own 15-yard line. We needed to try to convert on 4th and 5. To me, when you go out there to run those plays, you should know this is 4-down territory, no matter what. We got 4 chances to get a first down. We got 4 chances to get a new set of downs. Not 3 chances, 3 plays and potentially punt with 2 minutes left to go and you're down by 6. You don't need a field goal to win. You need a touchdown to win. Oh, that broke my heart. So that's the bone I need to pick. I want you to send me the direct messages. Tell me what you think about Cincinnati Bengals' decision to punt it on 4th and 5 from their own 15-yard line with 2.5 minutes left in the game, trailing by 6. We got Joe Burrow at quarterback. If he can't bring us back, then there ain't no coming back. If we can't protect him at this point in time, there ain't no winning the game. We're going to have a conversation a little bit later right now. We're going to take a break, have a conversation about what it was like having no Tee Higgins and half of Jamar Chase playing in this game against a Patriots defense that was better than what anyone thought. All right, everyone. Bleav in Bengal podcast. Guess what? BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything when it comes to football and the National Football League. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, even live odds and the spreads to bet during football games. If you think you know your stuff, well, Get in on the new $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every single week. That'll tell us how smart you are. And of course, for a chance to win a prize and a share of the $200,000 mega contest. So when the game is over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or even a game of poker if you play that, or unwind with one of over 150 slot machines. Of course, head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet online. The game starts here, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Bleav in Bengal podcast. Solomon Wilcots. And right now we're joined by, that's right, a 15-year veteran of the National Football League. He played quarterback for 8 seasons with the New England Patriots. My good friend Brian Hoyer joins us on the show. Brian, first of all, when we talked last week and we previewed this game, Cincinnati Bengals, New England Patriots, you said something about Jerod Mayo. You said something about that Patriots defense that led you to believe this was not going to be a cakewalk at Paycor Stadium. What did you know then, and what materialized on Sunday in this game that made you say, hey, I knew this was coming?
Well, I think we talked about it, and me being up in New England, I've been covering the Patriots a little bit, and I know Gerard. I was a teammate of his, I was a neighbor of his, and I know his mentality. And I just looked at it like I knew the defense was going to be tough. We weren't sure if Tee Higgins or Chase were going to play.
Yeah.
Tee Higgins dealing with injury, Chase with his contract status, and generally the last few years the Bengals have been a slow start team. Burrow's coming back off an injury, and I thought, the Patriots were going to have the mentality us against the world, and they were going to go in, try to establish the run game, which they were able to do. And the defense caused a lot of turnovers, and it's never easy to win when you're turning the ball over.
Yeah. It's clear that Jerod Mayo was able to tap into that Patriots, that championship DNA that you guys know all too well. What is it about him personally as a coach that you think he was able to tap into to get his team ready to play? Because they really did surprise a lot of people. I think they even surprised the owner, Mr. Kraft, when this game was over.
Yeah, I think, good teams embody their coach's persona. And that, when I watched that team play, that was Gerard, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Tough, smart, didn't hurt themselves, played tough football. And, it wasn't flashy numbers. I know they had a lot of rushing yards, but, Jacoby Brissett didn't throw a touchdown pass, but he converted some key third downs. They didn't have very many negative plays, not a lot of penalties, and they played, what's always been a term here in New England is complementary football, right?
Yeah,
and so, they forced some turnovers. They ran the ball really well. They set the tone. They possessed the ball a lot longer than the Bengals did. I mean,
right.
Going back and watching that game, there was one really, really good drive that the Bengals had. And other than that, it was kind of, punt here, maybe get a first down, turn the ball over. That's never a recipe to play winning football, no matter who you're playing.
Yeah, look, Patriots held the ball for 34 minutes compared to 26 minutes for the Cincinnati Bengals, 170 yards rushing on the ground for the New England Patriots. So they really dominated time of possession and played keep away in some ways from Joe Burrow. The Bengals were never able to get in sync. And you're a guy who played quarterback in this league. What does it mean for someone like a Joe Burrow when you don't have Tee Higgins? You're told that morning you're not going to have him. And you pretty much have half of a Jamar Chase who was limited in his role, didn't quite have his game legs ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, that's not what you want to hear as a quarterback. You come in and say, okay, one of your main weapons isn't going. The other one, was kind of up in the air, but you've had a relationship with him. We talked about that on our show, just going back to college, but it's not the same. And not on top of that, the Patriots defense, I know everyone said, they traded Judon away, they're tanking for the year, whatever it might be, but they kind of pass rush by committee, and Keon White was a guy that stepped up, had a few sacks. Christian Gonzalez, a guy who was, a very hyped rookie last year, but was injured. He did a good job matching. I thought they did a good job of containing Chase, not just with man coverage and help over the top, but they also played some zone coverage too and mixed it up where you could roll the safety over to the top of him. And so, when you have a two-headed monster out there, it's a little bit harder for a defensive coordinator to contain. But when you really have one marquee guy out there, you start, shifting that coverage to Chase, and it really limited him in the game.
Ramondre Stevenson, 25 carries, 25 yards. In all, 30, I think it was 39 run plays by the Patriots. That allowed them to really dictate the tempo. We always say styles make fights.
Yeah.
If you're a boxer, I'm going to make you fight my fight. How did the Patriots use the run game and Ramondre Stevenson to fight their fight and take the Bengals out of what they wanted to do? In your mind, how did that occur?
Well, I think we always say one thing in the NFL: a good running game travels anywhere. And
Yeah.
when you get up quick, and the Patriots were able to score early and get up quick, you can continue to stay with that game plan.
Yeah.
And I think being up here in New England, so much was in question. What's the offensive line situation going to be? What's the lineup they're going to throw out there? They didn't even know. I mean, they brought Michael Jordan up from the practice squad for this game. But I think the one thing, and I was talking to David Andrews about this today, is offensive linemen love to run the football.
Yeah.
It's their one chance to be aggressive. And I think what happened was they got out there. They started to have some early success. Ramondre made some good cuts, made some people miss, broke a few tackles. And that just starts to encourage some belief in what they're doing. And you saw them do that all the way to the last drive of the game.
Did you think coming into this game, the Patriots defense could hold Joe Burrow to 164 yards passing in the entire game? Did you ever think that, Brian?
That's hard to believe. Now, I will say, being a quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
Joe hasn't played real football in a long time, and it's not
Yeah.
easy. And then Tee Higgins is out.
Yeah.
We talked about it on our show. Joe Mixon's no longer there. And they've been a slow start team, so I'm sure Joe will rebound, especially once Tee gets back. They get into better rhythm, but the turnovers weren't really Joe's fault either. And so those things, and I don't know the tight end's name, but he's running in for a touchdown and Duggar punches the ball out, and all of a sudden you're expecting to get 7 points and you get 0, and that's a huge flip in the game. So they're going to have to clean those things up, but I'm sure that they'll get back to the form that they expected to be.
Yeah, Tanner Hudson was the one going
Tanner
in.
Hudson, that's
He starts to sort of move the ball around like he's a Harlem Globetrotter. The ball gets punched out. Mike Gesicki looked like he had a touchdown on the previous play.
Yep, exactly.
For whatever reason, they ruled it was a no catch. And that was a pivotal point in the game. And then for Charlie Jones to fumble on the punt return to start the third quarter and give the Patriots the ball at point blank range to get the early field goal. Went from 10-0 to 13-0. Those points would turn out to be very pivotal. I want you to give me your thoughts on this last scenario. At the end of the game, Cincinnati Bengals have the ball. They're trailing 10-16, 2:26 left in the game, 4th and 5 from the Cincinnati Bengals 15-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
Do you punt the ball there as Zac Taylor did, or do you go for it, knowing that you may not get the ball back there, Brian?
Yeah, it was funny. I was sitting in the NBC Sports Boston studio watching it because I was doing the post-game show, and we were debating. And I actually thought it was the right decision. They still had 3 timeouts. You still had the 2-minute warning. And it wasn't like I understand the Patriots were running, but they stopped them a few times, more than a few times. And so, I thought, okay, you kick it away, because in all reality, if you don't convert there, the game's over. You're putting them in field goal range just by not converting a 4th down. Automatically they kick a field goal. It's a 2-score game, so you're going to run out of time. So that's a debate. And look, I'm not a coach, so I'm glad that I don't have to make those decisions. But I thought, with 3 timeouts left, the 2-minute warning, you punt it away and say, all right, defense, I know it's been an up and down day and they've run the ball on you, but it's time for you to step up and get us the ball back and one more chance to go score.
Yeah, to me, I'm thinking you got to go for it. The game comes down to this. You're already on your 15-yard line. That's 85 yards in 2.5 minutes. You got I think 2 timeouts at the time. You're actually going to say, I'm going to punt it, and then I got to pitch a 3 and out.
Right.
I don't even know. I'm going to have to use the timeouts to stop the clock, but I got to go 3 and out here. And if I do get the ball back, I'm operating with no timeouts.
Yeah.
So I would not want to put my defense back out there into that scenario. And as we saw, you don't get the ball back.
Right.
So it was one of those things. Hey, Brian, wish you all the best. Thank you for joining us. I know you got things to do, my friend. I look forward to speaking with you again later in the week on the opening drive on Sirius XM NFL Radio, okay?
All right. Thanks, Solly. I'll see you Thursday.
It's now time for our Performer of the Week, brought to you by Midwest Hospice. Listen, whenever you lose a game, a disappointing game like the Week 1 contest against the Patriots, hard to pick a Performer of the Week. But, of course, we have to pick someone. I got to tell you, I think it's Ja'Marr Chase. That's right. It was Ja'Marr Chase. But one, He didn't get the contract he wants, and still showed up for his teammates. He tried to do everything he could. He knew Tee Higgins couldn't play. Can you imagine sending Joe Burrow out there without Tee Higgins and Jamar Chase? So Jamar took one for the team here. He was in the game for 31 snaps, for 31 plays. He was targeted 6 times. Do you know he caught the ball every single time when he was targeted? 6 catches for 62 yards. And, of course, he had 24 yards after the catch. Really did no practice through training camp. Only 2 practices the week leading up to the game. So they had to have him in a limited role. That means this was about 0.5 of what we would get from Jamar Chase, about half of what you could expect. But I do think he took one for the team. He gained 3 first downs. He did whatever he could to try to help this team. To think about the Cincinnati Bengals were shorthanded. If you were the New England Patriots secondary, you had to defend against Joe Burrow and his talented receivers, and they told you no Tee Higgins and half of Jamar Chase, who didn't even practice throughout the month of August except for 2 days before the game, and he's not going to have his game legs under it. Even I'll be 60 years old in October. Even I would sign up for that tour, dude. I can cover any of these guys if they haven't practiced for over a month. So that's right. I'm going to say that our performer of the week, brought to you by Midwest Hospice, is Jamar Chase for week number 1. I can tell you this. Joe Burrow did the best he could. He went 21 of 29. You know, he completed 72% of his passes. And when he threw the ball right to Mike Gesicki in the end zone, it's ruled a no catch, no touchdown. Gesicki, hold on to the ball, my friend. When he threw the ball to Tanner Hudson over the middle of the field, just going right into the red zone and then across the goal line, he Harlem Globetrotters the ball and give it up. Joe Burrow actually played well in this game. The fruits of his labor is not seen because he can't get guys to hold on to the ball. We're taking a break. But first, you should know this. If you're dealing with the final days of a loved one and can be obviously a difficult and overwhelming circumstance in your life, allow the trust and caregivers at Midwest Hospice to help. They're serving the greater Cincinnati area for over the last 10 years. It's time now to look ahead to next week's game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, this segment is brought to you by French Creek Roofing, Greater Cincinnati's choice for roofing, windows, and siding. Of course, as we look ahead to week 2, and it's about time we do, because week 1 was not pretty after suffering a 6-point loss at home to start the season against the New England Patriots at Paycor Stadium. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals will take to the road, go back to Kansas City. That's right, back to Kansas City to take on Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and the Kansas City Chiefs in a week 2 contest that will see the Kansas City Chiefs having a 10-day rest since they beat the Baltimore Ravens in the opening Thursday night game at home against the Baltimore Ravens. 27-20 was the final of that game. Look, the Cincinnati Bengals, we know how to win going to Kansas City. We're going to have to play our best football. There's no doubt about it. What we cannot do is we can't have the defense allowing the Chiefs to run the ball down our throat. What we cannot do is have our punt return and our receivers and tight ends not catching the ball down inside the red zone as they go across the goal line. Cincinnati Bengals are going to have to play the best game of the year. And I'm not saying the best of the 2 games they played so far. This game is going to have to be a precursor of what is to come, of what kind of team the Bengals can be this year. You know what? I will say, Geno Stone, Von Bell, I like those dudes. They give us a chance, right? We're going to need them because the Kansas City Chiefs, they're able to replace Tyreek Hill, y'all. They've got a rookie by the name of Xavier Worthy, and I saw him run like a 4.240 during his workout at the scouting combine in Indianapolis back in February. This kid ran the fastest 40 time ever seen in the history of the NFL scouting combine. And I think we saw him in that Thursday night game. He torched the Baltimore Ravens defense. He scored, I think, on a 34-yard touchdown pass. He scored on a reverse. They couldn't even pull his flag. They couldn't even touch him. And this kid is faster than any player we've seen. He's as fast, if not faster, than Tyreek Hill, at least based on his 40 time. So that is what we're facing when we go to Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes completed 71% of his passes against the Baltimore Ravens, and now he's got a speed receiver like Xavier Worthy. And then he's got the other guys are coming back. Juju Smith-Schuster is back with this football team. We already know Travis Kelce, he loves playing well against the Bengals because he's a Cincinnati kid, of course, who played at the University of Cincinnati. He hails from Cleveland Heights up north in Cleveland, but he spent a lot of times here in Cincinnati in the Queen City. It's called his second home. And so we've got to be at our best defensively. Our safeties have to be at their best. Our coverage is going to be at its best. One thing we got to do a better job, we got to do a better job getting pressure on the opposing quarterback. Did you know we only had 1 sack last week against Jacoby Brissett? I know Trey Hendrickson, man, he was claiming they were holding him on every single play. He was right, by the way. The officials didn't cut us any slack. But yeah, man, 1 sack on Jacoby Brissett. What do you think you got to do to Patrick Mahomes? If you give him all day to get a look at the coverage and throw the ball against our secondary, we got no shot. So, guys, we got to take our run defense with us. We got to take our pass rush with us. We got to take our pass coverage skills with us. Our defense is going to have to really be ready. Offense, needless to say, man, come on, can we do better? Can we do better than running the ball 16 times for 70 yards? Right now, Cincinnati Bengals run game is non-existent. And no way you're going to beat a Kansas City Chiefs team unless you have this thing called balance on the offense side of the ball. The ability to run it and the ability to catch it. To run 16 times for only 70 yards, not going to cut it. Of course, Joe Burrow dropped back 35 times. He was sacked 3 times. We got to do a better job of protecting him. But we're throwing the ball at a very inordinary high amount. And I think our ratios are getting out of whack. What that does, it allows teams to tee off and come after your quarterback. So we're going to have to pass protect better than we did 1 week ago against the Patriots because Chris Jones is no joke. George Karlaftis now in his second year, the former first-round pick playing opposite of Chris Jones. He's no joke either. Their secondary is still pretty good. They can coverage with the best of them. Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs. It's always cool when these two teams get together because I think Spags and Lou Anarumo, they come from the same school of how to create these exotic defenses, starting with coverage on the back end that can confuse the quarterback. But if you don't get pressure on the opposing quarterback, it ain't going to work. So for all the goodness that we're bringing now in our secondary, with the improvement at the safety position with Von Bell and Geno Stone, guys, we got to get pressure on the quarterback. You got to put pressure on Patrick Mahomes. If you give him all day to read our mail, he's going to pick our lock, and he's going to be making entry into the end zone multiple times throughout the day. So Cincinnati Bengals, we're heading to Arrowhead Stadium. I know plenty of the Bengal faithful are going to be there as well. We all know Joe Burrow, head-to-head against Patrick Mahomes in the 4 games they played. Burrow's 3-1. Now, the Chiefs did beat the Bengals last year when Jake Browning was the quarterback. So they've beaten the Bengals the last 2 times they played at the end of the 2022 season in the AFC Championship game, and then in 2023 in the regular season. The Chiefs have beaten us the last 2 times. Every time we play them seems to be at Arrowhead Stadium. I think the league and the schedule makers want us at Arrowhead Stadium. I don't want to hear this talk about Burrowhead either. Whoever's talking that trash, just put that to rest. Be respectful, because at the end of the day, we done lost our last 2 games there. I don't know if that even works. In fact, I know it doesn't work, so stop it. Go in there and win 1. Go in there and see what you could do. Look, Cincinnati Bengals, I know you can win this game. Our quarterback is as good as their quarterback. Our team is as good as their team. We play very similarly on offense and on defense. We put a lot of stock into the same principles that make up a good team. But if we let a rookie wide receiver and Xavier Worthy torch us like he did the Baltimore Ravens in his very first career NFL game, then guys, we need to go back to the drawing board. You're supposed to make a rookie work for it all. That's what's happening when we go to Arrowhead Stadium. Cincinnati Bengals, we're looking ahead to getting a win, our first win of the season next week when we go to Arrowhead Stadium. That's going to do it for this week's Bleav in Bengal podcast. Thank you for joining us, everyone.